huge amounts of weight. We clap and we cheered all the befores and the afters. And as we hear all about how they finally figured it out, Lord knows I've been there too, yapping about it for years. And recently I came across something very profound that struck me to my core, and it seems to be helping me in the battle with food. And I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But first, this is exactly what I'm talking about, yapping about it. 8 years ago, Catherine Lee cha-cha'd her way onto our stage after losing 175 pounds. That's a whole man, really. So let's take a look. Well, good girl. You're an inspiration.
Aside from the birth of my children, that was the most significant day of my life. You know, when I was there and the audience was clapping and two of my greatest mentors and icons were saying, well done.
Aren't you proud of yourself?
I am. I would have sworn on a Bible that I had it together. I thought there's no way that I will ever go back to being the way I was before. Never. Since being on the show, I gained 150 pounds and now have lost over 100 again. I think that I knew things were out of control with the first 20 pounds. And then I just said, forget the whole thing. It became a complete self-sabotage. At that point, I began to hide. I began to feel that I wasn't worthy anymore. I think the biggest mistake that I made the first time around is I made it about everybody else. I was either doing it for them or to get a reaction from them. The obsession or the running to food got replaced with people's attention. It got replaced with the motivation of other people saying, great job. Okay, now we're going to go to the closet. Everything from a size 10 to a 28 is in this closet, if you can imagine. You know, I got rid of the majority of my biggest clothes, but there's a few things I'm hanging on to. I'm scared I'll go back there again. I think it's because I just watched the video and I saw how sure I was. How sure I was. And then I walk in here and I see the reality of the last 8 years. And I think, you know, what if?
What if? Well, 8 years ago, you thought that you had it all figured out. And that is a seminal moment, coming out on stage. Bob Green's there. I'm there. We're going, yay, 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 yay. And then what happened?
Boy, I tell you, I thought I had it all together. I kept that weight off for 7 years.
That's a long time.
So it wasn't like I had just lost it. It was 7 years at that point. But I got home and I got in touch with, you know, a wonderful man in my life and began to have love come into my life. I was single at that time.
Uh-huh.
And
you were single when you cha-cha'd on here?
I was single when I cha-cha'd on. And I had based everything on, you know, that God loved me, and so now I'm going to be okay. I had accepted that love of God, but what I didn't realize is I was taking that relationship, pairing it with every relationship, was you have to work to be loved. You have to earn grace. And so I was still in the cycle of only if I'm thin am I lovable. Only if I'm thin am I okay.
And so you started to eat.
Yeah, when love came in my life again, you know, I got on birth control when we got married and gained 20 pounds, and I had never had a chemical weight gain. I had, you know, emotional weight gains and choice weight gains and genetic weight gain, but I had never had a chemical weight gain. And so getting on the birth control, and then I started hiding because then I got off birth control and got pregnant. And then I gained more weight, and so I went not from solitude, those good times alone, I went into isolation. No one can see me like this. And I knew for sure that my husband was going to leave me. I just knew it for sure.
Did he?
No.
Okay.
He did not.
Good for him.
He is here, and he is loved me then and loved me now.
Good for you. Well, the April issue of O Magazine is on the stands now for another week. On the cover, it's the one in red. And I boldly announce that my battle with food is over. And here's what I just wanted to say about that. In that issue, I had one of those great aha moments too, because I had a life-changing conversation with best-selling author Janine Roth when I read her new book, Women, Food, and God, which we have excerpted in the April issue. I knew that I had found something profound, exactly what you're talking about. You know, what I've known for years is, you know, and learned this early on with Bob Greene, it's not about the weight, but it's also not about the weight. Right. And so it's about using food as a substitute for all the other things in your life. And what is so interesting to me, all the things that are missing in your life, what's interesting is you know, we can become, everybody knows you can become addicted to gambling and drugs and addicted to potato chips, addicted to food. You can also become addicted to attention, which is what happened to you.
Absolutely. It was like a prison of praise. First I had a prison of my body. Mm-hmm. Then it became, okay, what am I going to wear today? So will somebody notice that I've lost weight? And I would walk in, and if somebody didn't say something, you know, I went, is something wrong? Yeah, and I did not realize that, honestly, until after I lost the weight, gained it back, and looked back and went, what went wrong?
Yes.
What went wrong?
Well, in the O issue, we talk about ending the tyranny with food. Yes. Just ending the tyranny. Don't you, all of you who've dieted and up and that, ending the tyranny with food. So if you can, pick that up and then pick up Janine Roth's book. Have you read Janine Roth's book, Women, Food, and God?
It was something to fit. It felt like a complete regression. You know, my old story was back, and I was in that place again, and it felt like failure.
Catherine lost 175 pounds, gained it all back, has recently started to lose the weight again. And I hear you say that regaining it was much harder than being fat in the first place. Why?
It was because I felt like a fraud. I knew what to do. I had done it. I had lived it for 7 years. I was in the industry. I was teaching on the subject. And now I was doing exactly what I knew not to do. So I felt like a hypocrite. I felt like a fraud on top of, you know, I knew how to do fat, and I thought I knew how to do thin. And now here I am, knowing that there's that thin person inside